agreements now are protected by the state. They are forever.
Forever?
Forever.
So even if even if I am a brewery, it's my beer.
Yep.
I've made this agreement with you where things are going well, but then you become a jackface, like a horrible, mean person. I'm stuck with you.
Unless
it's like the worst divorce, like cannot happen. Like it's the worst marriage. You can't get divorced.
You can get divorced.
Hey all, Amanda here. Welcome to episode 33 of Great Beer Adventure. We love beer here, as I'm sure that you all know. While I completely understood the process of buying beer, I was unsure of all the specifics around how my favorite retailers get their beer that I buy. So I hunted down the logistics, of course. In this episode, we sit down with Jim OBrien of Vacationland Distributors and learn all about the distribution game. Do you ever find that you have beer-related quandaries? If so, come find us on Twitter at Great Beer Women and let us know. We'll sleuth out the answers for you. For now, let's head over to the new digs of Vacationland Distributors. Hey everyone, I am sitting at the table today with Jim OBrien, and Dano, of course, is here. He's taking notes and he's helping out. And we are sitting in the brand new warehouse. Is that the correct word? Warehouse?
Nerve station. Whatever. Yeah.
Nerve station of Vacationland Distributor. Distributing? Distributors?
Distributors. Yeah. Plural. There's a couple of us.
Okay.
Yeah.
And it's mostly finished, but some of the finessing of the space hasn't quite been finished.
Yeah.
Would you agree with that?
Absolutely. Yeah. No, I don't think we're ever going to be done.
Right. It's not always something that you can upgrade a little bit.
I still got to put speakers in, I mean, there's a lot.
Speakers. I mean, speakers are a big deal. You got to make sure that your sound system is on check.
The amount of hours we're going to spend here, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that's where the TV goes. So,
there is a couch prepped for said TV.
Yeah.
But no TV.
No TV.
No.
No, priorities.
Yeah. We're actually redoing our basement right now. And the TV has been sitting in the box up in my husband's office. And because he's very excited, he found a really good deal on Black Friday. But it's still in the box.
That would drive me crazy.
Oh, he's scratching at the walls. Yeah. He wants to open it so badly, but he knows it'll probably just be set up in his office if that's the case. So this is the part of the show where I actually tell you what I Googled about you.
Let's see what you found.
Okay, I'm going to say that unless it has something to do with Vacationland, I didn't find anything.
Yeah. I didn't really exist before 2014.
Right. So. Luckily, a while back, we became Facebook friends.
Mm-hmm.
And
that's going to bite me. Yeah.
You opened up the floodgates a little bit. And by a little bit, I really mean just a little bit. I probably could have dug and found some really fun things, but I didn't.
I'm glad you didn't.
I did find that back in the 90s, you graduated from Hampton Academy.
Sure did. Go Broncos.
I don't really know where Hampton is.
You know where Bangor is?
Yes.
Okay, back up south, one town.
Oh.
Yeah.
So there's a lot going on up in Bangor now.
Yeah, Bangor is a thing.
It is a thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It sure is. There's a lot of cool stuff. There's, the beer scene is good, but the arts scene is great.
Right.
The entrepreneur, small business community is really tight. And there's a bunch of good people up there. So.
Yeah. Do you feel pride towards them, or are they rivals? You're like, oh, down with Bangor, because you're Hampton, one.
Well, my mom taught high school at Bangor High. So, right. I mean, yeah, there was the rivalry thing, just because, I played football and, but no, it's Central Maine, man.
It's Central Maine, man.
Yeah.
There's a quote for you. Okay, and so then you went to USM.
Yes, I did.
And you graduated with psychology, but then you're like, hey, I'm going to go back and get my MBA.
Yeah. So, I finished my degree and found myself working. Well, not found myself. I really wanted to do it. I was an advisor for undergraduate business students.
You just took off one of my checks.
Yeah. See, no, I didn't know I had interest in business actually, and then just hanging out with those guys and watching them get really excited about business in ways that I didn't think people did. It was cool. I liked it. So yeah.
So before you were an advisor, though, you worked at Best Buy.
Oh yeah.
Yep, and then you changed over to the student affairs.
Yes.
And that's really it. And then you started Vacationland in 2014.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. I mean, there was the whole meeting my wife in there and having a child.
Yeah, I was going to say there was the wife and the child.
Yeah, but you got the high points.
I got the career side of things. But yeah, the wife, the child, they are important too.
Yes, they are.
I would say they might be even more important.
I would agree with you.
Yeah.
Not just because this microphone's pointed at me either.
No, not at all.
No, definitely has nothing to do with this microphone. End quote.
End quote. I think, we might as well just mosey on into round one. You've just finished your last swig of boom sauce, so we might as well just make it official.
Okay.
We're drinking boom sauce.
For now, yeah.
For now, because you just kept bringing things in. I had to remind you, we need to get over the bridge.
Yes.
Yes.
No, that won't be a problem.
Okay, sounds good. This boom sauce is really good.
Thanks. I can take no credit for it, but no, those guys are really pumping out some pretty decent liquid.
Is that how you describe it? Pretty decent liquid? I like that.
Well, it's each brewery has its own approach to what they put out. Mm-hmm. Some breweries are really precious about their beer. These guys, they just want to make accessible, high-quality craft beer. And I think they're doing that.
Yeah.
So.
And it tastes really good. Nice. I don't know why, but at the moment I'm forgetting the name of the other beer that Lord Hobo makes.
Steal This Can?
Steal This Can. That's right. So actually, we drank the boom sauce. I couldn't remember which one, but we drank the boom sauce with the Four River guys because they didn't have any beer at the time.
Right.
Right. And you actually have a connection to Four River.
Yeah, we've been talking with them. We stood the company up in March of 14. I think our first conversation with the Four River team was in June of 14. And conversation kept going. And long story short, we are proud to represent them statewide. So, they're launching. The public launch is the 13th of January.
Yeah, so that would have already happened by the time this airs.
Hey, good to see you all. At the launch, I'm sure you were all there.
And you can go out and find them now.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So, they're on draft all over the place.
All over the place. Yeah. Okay, so what else did you bring to the table today?
We got some interesting stuff, I hope. First of all, our main connection.
A little roll away and roll back. Yeah. These IKEA chairs have wheels.
Yes, that is about all they have. For now, our other main brewery, Some Brewing, and I say for now not because they're going anywhere, but because we would love to pick up more. But I have some mainly pale from Some Brewing, Citra hopped, 5.5% crusher.
Now, this one's called Mainly Pale with the word main, not mainly as in like mostly pale.
Correct. Yeah.
Correct?
Correct. We're working on that. It's an in-house thing.
Okay. And now, if I remember correctly, the Mainly Pale is made with all Maine ingredients?
Yeah, so when they can, they source Maine hops as well. But at the very least, it's Maine Malt House malt, rather. So, yeah, go Buck Brothers.
Yes, they're a funny duo, those two. Did you see their Facebook? The elf on shelf?
Yeah, actually like raking the stuff, and the pose was spot on. It was pretty nice.
Yeah, we had them on Periscope one evening, and they're quite hysterical.
Yeah,
I really like them.
So we've got the mainly pale from some. We have we'll go there next. So ginger libation from the Artisan Beverage Cooperative in Western Mass.
What kind of drink is this?
That is a 9% unfiltered, unpasteurized, pre-prohibition style ginger beer.
That's a lot of words.
That is a lot of words. It's really tasty. It is really tasty.
So I found out that the Moscow mules are made with ginger beer, but it's not like ginger beer like alcoholic-wise. It's just, would this make a good Moscow mule?
It makes the best Moscow mule or dark and stormy you've ever had. Yeah, it's really good. And because you're making it with something with a little punch in it anyway.
Yeah.
Just buckle up.
I feel like this whole episode's just full of quotables. I gotta tell you, I've always been a little scared to pick that up in the store.
Yeah. Well, and that's because like you're looking at the 750 milliliter right there. If you haven't tried it, that is a kind of a big commitment.
It is a big commitment,
volume wise. But they've just released. Well, I say just recently. Last few months, they've given us 375 milliliter bottles too. So, and then we're hearing rumors this summer of a blueberry libation.
Oh.
Yeah, so.
And where are these folks out of?
Greenfield, Mass.
Again, I have no idea where that is. I really should get better at geography.
Yeah, it's $4.95 in Massachusetts. Get off on Route 2 West and drive forever. If you hit like New York, back up about 30 feet. That's your
waypoint is New York.
Basically, if they're listening to this, they're screaming at me right now. But for the uninitiated, that's probably the easiest description.
All right, cool. And there's another bottle on the table.
Yeah, so one of the people here, I guess Dano, is into the farmhouse Brett stuff. So that's Transmitter Brewing out of Long Island City. That's their F0. So it's, 3 different strains of Brettanomyces. They bottle condition everything for 6 months before they let it out of the brewery. It's like serious beer nerd. Like, these guys kill it. They really do.
Really?
Yeah.
I've never even heard of them.
Yeah, they're still pretty new. I mean, we get, a few cases at a time. Nothing crazy.
Really?
Very small drops. I mean, but that's what we're shooting for. We don't want necessarily every brand that we represent to just be like super huge volume. We need you to move so many, hundreds of barrels a month. Like, there's room for that, but there's also room in what we're trying to do anyway. There's room for high quality, like super high end artisan type beverages.
All right.
So
I think that you're starting to touch on things that I'm a little confused by.
Sure.
So it makes sense for us to move into our second round. We'll be trying these beers throughout the show. But let's move right into the second round, which is all about distribution. Okay. So I know that you deliver beer to people.
I pick beer up and put it down.
Yes, you pick it up and put it down in different locations, hopefully, usually, not just in the same one.
There's a lot of picking up and putting down here, but yeah, that's the gist of it. We collect the good beer, and then we throw the good beer onto a truck or van or whatever, and we sprinkle it about Johnny Appleseed style, all over Maine.
All right, so I'm a new brewery.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Nobody ever thought it was going to happen.
Well, I'm glad. You're going to learn very quickly about franchise law.
I don't even know what that means.
Okay, so here's the franchise laws are the group of laws that govern who can sell what products to whom.
Okay.
So the easiest way to kind of the history lesson here is back in the 70s, there were, let's say 7 nationwide breweries and like 1,000 mom and pop distributors. And at that point, all the power in negotiations and contracts rested with the breweries. So if I'm a distributor and Dano is a distributor, and at that point you are Budweiser, okay, and I'm with
wow.
you.
This is because it's in the 70s?
It is.
Okay, all right.
So you're Budweiser, and you have a great relationship with Dano, and he is your distributor in Maine, okay?
Can I have different distributors throughout the U.S.?
You can have different distributors in a single state, yeah.
Oh.
But short answer, yes. So let's say in Maine, Dano's your guy.
All right.
I come along and I say, you know what, Budweiser, I'll give you an extra quarter, 25 cents for every keg. I'll pay you more for your beer than Dano will. In the 70s, what would happen is Budweiser would look at me and say, okay, great, deal. And Dano's left holding the bag with, he's just painted his fleet of trucks Budweiser red. He's launched the brand. He's been representing the brand. He's left holding the bag on all those investments and all that work. At some point, that became obvious that it wasn't really a fair balance of power. So what happened is a bunch of laws were enacted around the U.S. that shifted the power over to the distribution side. So the distributors had definitely more power than they used to. So now, if you're a brewer and you sign a distribution agreement with, my company, say, I have a lot more leverage. There are laws protecting me so that you can't just use me for a year to kind of do the hard work of launching your brand in a state, or you're a brand new brewery and I'm doing the work to launch you. You can't just walk away on a whim. So basically now...
How long am I stuck with you for?
Well, that's where we come in. See, the laws, in our opinion, to Vacationland, when laws were enacted to protect those distributors, the pendulum swung really, really far. So instead of just agreements to sell beer that could be terminated for no reason at all, agreements now are protected by the state. They are forever.
Forever?
Forever.
So even if even if I am a brewery, it's my beer.
Yep.
I've made this agreement with you.
Yep.
Where things are going well, but then you become a jackface, like a horrible, mean person. I'm stuck with you.
Unless
it's like the worst divorce, cannot happen. Like, it's the worst marriage. You can't get divorced.
You can get divorced.
Okay.
Reasons for a divorce would be you would prove in court that I've done something illegal, or I've lost my license to operate as a distributor, or in the agreement I've violated some, key term in the agreement. You find out that I'm actively trying not to sell your brand because I don't make as much money on your brand as I do on somebody else's. Things like that, okay? The other way, if you just don't like me but I haven't violated anything, you can buy yourself out of a distribution agreement. And that can be as much as 2 to 3 times annual revenue.
Wow.
Not profit. Whatever money your brewery made, multiply that by 3, like in 2015, multiply that by 2 or 3, you give that to your distributor that you want to leave, and then you can sign another one.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's
the same thing
as a podcast, we've made negative money. So would they end up being able to pay us? Because then I might want to be distributed.
Well, yeah, you're right.
Well, if this could actually work out for Dano and I making some money, we might want to sign with somebody, not Vacationland, because they have a different policy.
Yeah, so...
Yeah, but somebody that'll tie us in, then we can get them to pay us back. Does that sound... Dano likes it.
I'm seeing some serious nodding from the other side of the table, thumbs up and everything. Yeah, so, when we... none of us, none of the owners...
And how many owners are there?
There are a total of 5.
Okay.
So none of the partners, none of the employees have ever worked for a distributor before. I learned about all this at the end of my MBA at USM. We have to do this semester-long internship. And because of where USM is, a lot of students, they'll do LL Bean, which is awesome, or they'll go work for Hannaford Corporate when that was a thing in Scarborough, which is still awesome, or like insurance houses in town. I was a home brewer, you know. I like beer. And luckily at that moment, Banded Horn was opening. And I shot an email, just totally cold called basically via email. Hey, would you guys mind if 4 or 5 MBA students came to make your life difficult for a semester? And they said, sure, come on down. And it was, they taught us about franchise law. We talked with Ian a ton about, really, there's only one customer? Like, you don't really, there's basically one person that buys your beer and that's it? And what happens if that goes bad? And, we learned about franchise law and the challenges the brewers face from a brewer. So with no background in distribution and learning about the way things were from someone who isn't really on the positive side of the power balance, we really felt like there was an opportunity for a distributor to come online servicing craft breweries in ways that just hadn't been done before. And
okay, so I get now kind of like who the distributor is, like what they have coming towards it. Now, how do we get connected? Like, how does that happen? So if, I now know a little bit about franchise law, and I say a little bit, meaning a little bit. And how do I get in touch with you? Like, how does this happen?
It can happen a couple different ways. If we, as a distribution company, have our ear to the ground about what's new and what's coming up, we can reach out to breweries, whether they're new breweries here in the state or if they're really awesome breweries from outside the state. We reach out to them and say, hey, if you're thinking about coming to Maine, let's have a talk. And people can pretty quickly look us up and see what sort of reputation that we've been working hard. I hope we have a good one. I think we do. It can come from them reaching out to us. That's happened a couple times. Us reaching out to other breweries. It's usually pretty organic.
And so we are like, yeah, this is going to be awesome. And we sign paperwork. And the way Vacationland works is that we can sign a contract length.
Yeah, exactly. So, for us, as we looked at franchise law and what seems to be not super brewer friendly is that whole marriage without opportunity for divorce, really. Yeah. It's not quite arranged marriage, but it's, there's no recourse, really. And so the way that we came up with to get around that basically is our agreements are fixed length. They're like a cell phone contract, basically. If you're...
Well, those kind of suck. I don't know if you would liken yourself to a cell phone contract.
Well, I'll liken myself to a cell phone contract in that it's got a fixed length of time. At the end of that contract...
You can get a new phone.
You can... Yeah, we'll give you a new phone. And... but no, we'll... it's at the end of the contract, our job while we're distributing somebody's beer on one of these fixed length contracts is to make sure that we are as hungry for their business and as, passionate and authentic about representing them and their brand the day after they sign our agreement than we are the day before. See, with those traditional agreements, once the name's on the dotted line, really there's no real drive.
Yeah, there's only drive to not be illegal. Like, that's the only...
Well, and I don't want to... there are some other operators in the space that are, pretty ethical, and I think they do a really good job representing the brands they have.
Right.
Just for us, we're not trying to say
Just don't let Darth Vader get a hold of distribution, is basically, because then it'll be evil and horrible.
Yeah, that's pretty much it.
Yeah. Okay, so... We've decided that we're going to go with you.
Okay.
We've signed the paper.
That's awesome. I'm honored.
Yeah, we are too. Thanks for deciding that we're good enough for you to do stuff. Now the question is, how do you get my beer? Like, do you come to my brewery? Do you drive to, you're saying this was like almost to New York. Do you go out to almost to New York to
Sometimes.
How about this one where you only have a couple cases? Like, how does it get to you?
So it really is, at our scale and where we are, that is a case-by-case basis. Like some brewing, like I pick up, or Andy picks up, our delivery guy, picks up every week. So that way we're always in fresh beer. We have new batches. What he made last week, that was last week, and you may have a very, a totally different style or totally different recipe available this week. So for some brewing, definitely for Four River, those types of things really make sense. Even some of the breweries in Massachusetts, we are picking up all the Lord Hobo ourselves. Where it becomes a little tougher is, like Hoof-Hearted.
Exactly. You get kegs of their stuff. How do you get that?
Shipping companies.
Okay, so there's a company that will be the middleman.
Yeah, totally.
For you.
There are, there are all kinds of companies out there.
And it's not UPS or FedEx because they do.
It can be.
It can be.
It can be FedEx. Yeah, FedEx has a whole freight division. They're super fast. They tend to be pricey, but in this game, you have goods that you want to move from across the country to where you are.
And you want to do it quickly.
It can be reliable. Mm-hmm. It can be cheap, and it can be fast. Okay, pick two.
Right. The triangle of I shipped Maine artisanal marinades down to Texas. They did not make it successfully.
Oh, no.
No. I got a bag of said marinades back on my doorstep.
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
we have some companies that we really rely on. I mean, there are a lot of small companies like mine that have, either large amounts of or heavy things shipped across the country. So there's entire industries built up on shipping stuff that's less than a full truckload.
So regardless if I'm having somebody ship it across country or you're picking it up, somebody comes to my brewery to pick up the beer?
Yes, ma'am.
And then it comes and it's dropped off here at this warehouse?
Yes.
Right here?
Right on the loading dock.
And then you pick things up and you put them down?
Yep.
And... okay, now you just have a lot of beer and wine. And Mangria.
Yeah, it's fun. Yeah.
I saw that. Fun. I don't know what that is, but I saw that one.
That was the first brand that we signed. So I'm a podcast fan. And I, probably listen to about 20 to 30 hours of podcasts a week. And Adam Carolla he puts out a free hour-and-a-half long podcast. Think The Man Show, but uncensored and available every day. Very lowbrow humor, it's not highfalutin comedy. A lot of fart jokes. But Adam began producing this beverage. It's basically a fortified wine. I called it Mangria, and somebody had to be first. We reached out to them, and basically Adam loved the idea of a fan-turned-distributor, and he was willing to be the first brand that a new distribution house signed.
Wow.
So, yeah, it's it's definitely a unique product, but it has, I've got a, framed label on the wall. I mean, that was, my brother-in-law did that for me, is like celebrating the opening of the business. So,
right.
Yeah, it's got a soft spot in my heart for it, so.
Okay, so anyways, you pick them up and you put them down, and you have a lot of beer here. Now what?
Now we sell it. So,
like out on the sidewalk?
Yeah.
Beer here.
It's like the lemonade stand. Yeah. Only a little bit more than 5 cents a glass.
I would hope so.
Yeah, no, it's business to business sales. We have people that go out. I'm really lucky. I have a great team. John Squadrito is sort of the head of the beer operations here, and he physically visits calls, texts, carrier pigeon, whatever it takes.
Those are some really strong pigeons.
They are. Well, I mean, they just have to bring back orders. I mean,
okay.
I've got the kegs. So,
right. Okay.
Yeah. No pigeons.
You'd have to be like carrier pterodactyls.
Yeah. Yeah. Let me know when you find one.
If I find one, will you hook a keg to its leg?
I'll watch. I'll watch as somebody tries.
Can we put John on that?
I think John is a little more conservative than that. He's definitely. We don't want to hurt John. John's a good guy.
Okay.
And so he's one of the partners. He owns a piece of the business. He's really good at what he does, and he visits accounts. And he's at the point now where, because of the work that he's done, we have places that just say like, okay, send me, 3, 4, or 5 kegs this week, just something interesting. And we really become partners, and John has become partners with a lot of places to help them curate their beer list. Which is,
So now you said kegs, but is it kegs and bottles? Do you just do bars? Do you do bars and bottle shops? What?
It's kegs, bottles. It's everything. So we do bars, restaurants, bottle shops, grocery stores. Anybody that has a license to sell beer and wine to the general public. Yeah, that's who we sell to. So
I was reading something. I think this must have to do with some law. If I'm small enough, I can distribute it myself.
Yeah, that's one of the very coolest things about the Maine beer scene. Self-distribution.
Now, like Bissell does that.
Yeah.
And Foundation, I think.
So we've got, Bissell, Austin Street, Bunker, Oxbow here in Maine. There's a bunch of small breweries that put out really high-end product. I mean, it's one of the reasons that the Maine beer scene is as strong as it is, in this one person's opinion, is through that self-distribution law. See, it costs money to operate any business. This business is in that pile. So basically, we buy beer at X, per keg from the brewer, and for us to, keep our lights on, we have to charge more than X, to sell it. And so that distance, that gap, that margin in there, if you're self-distributing, you can sell the beer just for X plus whatever. And so that, being able to capture all that margin, especially for a brewery starting out, being able to sell, if somebody sells a keg of beer to a place for $100, they could either sell it to a distributor for $70 and have the distributor sell it for $100, and the distributor gets to keep $30 in that transaction. Or if they're self-distributing, they can sell that keg for $100, and it costs them maybe $30, $35 to produce. They get to keep a lot more money. And because they get to keep a lot more money, they're stronger businesses. They can reinvest at a greater amount and with greater frequency. There are reasons to self-distribute. Other operations, like Four River, they're not doing any self-distribution. They just don't want to be bothered. Yeah, they can put out some serious volume, and it takes a certain amount of time to sell every gallon of beer.
Right.
And so it very quickly becomes, I don't want to say untenable, but it's a ton of work. And to use Bissell as the model, man, they've been doing the self-distro thing for their entire, for their entire existence. And that's, I think, between that and having good beer, that's allowed them to really spring forward. And that's, the business case for self-distribution. That's why, we're distributors. Like, we should want people to have us sell all of their beer all the time. But that's not the way we approach it. Like, we want strong breweries. We want people that have, a passion to make good things and to sell good things out there too. So we'll be there when it's time.
2 questions I have.
Sure.
Okay, one, how does the money work? Does it do you buy the beer from me, the brewer, and then go and sell it? Do I give you my beer and then you pay me back once you've sold it? Like, how does that piece of it work?
Yeah, it's like it's more like the first than the second.
More like the first and the second.
Yeah. So I go to you. I pick up the beer, and then I have a given amount of time to pay you for that beer.
So it's not like cash in hand.
No.
But it's still you've bought that beer from me.
Absolutely.
So it's yours, and
and I have to pay for every drop of that.
Right.
So it's on us to sell it, but quick.
Yeah.
Not only financially, but we want fresh beer out there.
Exactly.
So we don't want to be sitting on stuff.
Right.
So.
And then my other question was, let's say I'm up in the middle of nowhere.
Okay.
And I can self-distribute completely wonderfully up there, but there is no way I can make it all the way down here.
Yep.
Can I do two separate things?
Absolutely. Some brewing is doing just that. When we signed Some Brewing, we encourage them to continue self-distribution in York County, just because that's where the core customer base was at the time. There's really no reason for us to, immediately take that over, because keep as much money as you can, and then, it's going to make you a stronger brewery. You can self-distribute in any number of counties, all the counties in the state, but distribution rights are broken up by county. So if you're a brewery that wants to, like Nice is an example.
Right.
They recently gave assigned distribution rights to their distributor for the rest of the state here in Cumberland County. So for a while, they were distributing themselves in Cumberland County.
Yes, that's how I got to sit down with Tim, because he happened to be coming to drop off beer, which was nice for me.
Yeah, no, it works out, and those are great guys, and that they made the decision to distribute in Cumberland County for as long as they could, and it now their distributor is covering Cumberland as well for them. So yeah, so long as you're small enough, which is producing fewer than 50,000 gallons per year, you can self-distribute, you can have a distributor, and you can use any combination of those two.
So would their accounts, so let's say they were in, I happened to meet Tim in Slab. So let's say that was one of their accounts prior to having a distributor. Would their distributors kind of pick up that same account?
Yeah.
Okay, so they would just be like here, take this type of deal?
Yeah, well, and the way it works usually, most distributors are in most places. There are some exceptions, but it's their distributor happened to already be in Slab with other beers, so it's a pretty collaborative sort of arrangement.
Okay, is there anything else? I feel like I kind of understand. I know that there's probably like 750 other things I could ask you questions about.
Okay.
But I think I'm getting there. I think I'm good. But is there anything else I should know as a parting gift to round 2?
Yeah, I think you pretty much covered it. We buy the beer. We do our best to sell really high quality beer on behalf of the people that make it. And I think we're doing a pretty good job. I think that's pretty much the gist of it.
Okay, now here's my last question. It might be a little rough. What do you think about what some of the larger companies are doing to try to, I can see the breath, to get more shelf space?
Well,
with just in terms of distribution.
So, yeah, that is a thing. I don't want to speak ill of other operations. People get upset that there's a Starbucks in every corner, but they wouldn't be. And
there's a Starbucks in the bathroom of the Starbucks.
Yeah, right. But they wouldn't be that big if they weren't doing something right.
Right.
So it's easy to sit on the outside and take pot shots. Part of it sour grapes. But hey, if we do this right, one day we'll be bigger than we are now. And who's to say that somebody won't be taking pot shots at us? Basically, if you look at what happened in Massachusetts, Pretty Things, which is now no longer, sadly, but they called their own distributor on the carpet for less than ethical business practices. That is an unfortunate reality of the environment that we find ourselves operating in. That's just a no-go for us. As one of the people that started this business, I want to have something that I can, I have a 5-year-old daughter, and I want to be able to look at her and tell her everything I did that day and be proud of it, and have her look up to me when she's 25 as much as she does now. You know, I don't want her to learn that her dad was shiesty and, you know, was doing, you know, things that were a little on the wrong side of the law. So there are activities that happen because we don't engage in them. I'm not the best person to ask about what those are. But yeah, I mean, to the extent that they do occur, I think it actually negatively impacts the craft beer scene in Maine.
All right, now that you went and got me emotional, I think we need to pour another beer and move into round 3.
Okay. Where do you want to go?
I have no idea. I'm really curious about this ginger libation, although I'd really like to make it into a Moscow Mule so badly.
Really? Well,
not right now.
No, I can't. I'm trying to figure it out. So we'll pour it. Will you have some? Yeah. Okay, right on. So we'll have yours. All right.
Oh,
new glass. See, this is the good part about owning a place. Like, it's my mess and my floor. So I have been on sales calls, like presenting, say, Prosecco.
Yeah.
And bumpy ride there, and the Prosecco blew all over the guys. I mean, it looked like the end of a NASCAR race. People shaking stuff up and spraying.
Oh no!
So here it doesn't matter that much. It's very, very good epoxy on the floor. So, new glass, same glass.
Same glass is fine.
All right.
I know you have all your fancy glasses, but I'm good.
Just a couple ounces.
Yes. Whew.
Okay, so that's definitely ginger, but pineapple, lemon, lime, gluten-free.
Oh, good. I was worried about that.
Yeah, me too.
After that first gluten hit with the boom sauce, I was like, no more gluten for me.
Yeah.
It has a very interesting smell to it.
Yeah, it's just, was it today or yesterday, somebody said, yeah, that's basically the only thing you could call this is a ginger libation, because it's like, different, it's a whole different thing.
Yeah. I think this is actually the first show that we've ever opened a beer mid-show. So you're a groundbreaker.
That's what I do.
The coloring on this is very interesting. It looks like pineapple juice.
Yeah.
Like it straight up looks like, does not taste like pineapple juice straight up.
No, but there actually is pineapple in there, but it's got, you see a lot of IPAs that are super hazy, and this has that going for it.
Yeah, it's a little more yellow, I would say, than some of those hazy IPAs.
Oh, pineapple juice versus orange juice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, round 3. We're drinking some more. You just really like to swallow, drink it and get it down. You're like,
yeah, I'm for efficiency.
Yeah, all for efficiency.
Yeah.
So round 3, we want to know your first beer memory.
First beer memory is my first day of my freshman year at college. We were sitting at a dorm orientation. Parents have dropped us off. We're 18, very wide-eyed, no idea what's going on. Sitting in orientation on the ground floor of Woodward Hall at USM, and a faculty member is at the front of the room giving presentations. I think the RA was up there. And because of the time of year, the windows were open. It's the end of the summer. And my roommate and I were sitting kind of in the back of the room towards the window, because that's the type of people that we are. And I hear this, psst, hey. And I look over, and there is no joke, somebody who I've never met with a great big fraternity T-shirt on. Anybody want beer? And I will decline to say what fraternity it was, but I
smart move.
I think the statute of limitations on that type of behavior is expired. But I definitely paid $20 for a 6-pack of Rolling Rock, because I didn't know any better, and I didn't know how much things cost, and I didn't know what beer was at that point. So, yeah, that was my first one.
That's pretty funny.
Yeah. $20 for a 6-pack, though.
Yeah, you got ripped off.
No, seriously.
I mean, even $20 for a 4-pack or a 6-pack of really good beer now.
That can happen. It's rare.
Right.
But, an 18-year-old first night away from his parents, that's not the beer that person's buying. That's just not gonna. I mean, this was 1996 too, so that was like $200,000 today. So
approximately.
Yeah. Well, I mean, inflation and
right. Yeah. Approximately. That's very expensive beer.
Yeah.
Yeah. One of my very first ones was actually with my RA.
Well, congratulations.
Yeah.
That's the kind of dedication to one's position you like to see.
Yeah, definitely. All right, round 4.
Bring it on.
Okay, round 4, you are efficiently drinking all of your beverages, so hopefully you're a little loosened up by now, and we want to...
For the record, I've had a half of a beer. I've had a beer, I think. Yeah?
Maybe 3/4.
Yeah, I just don't like to drink while I'm talking, that's all. I don't like to have it in my hand, I guess.
Oh, all right. I was like, I wonder if I like drinking while I'm talking. Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
It's easier to talk while I'm drinking. But not like physically, like I get it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, round 4. For your favorite childhood cartoon, that would be the first question that we ask in this one.
Looney Tunes, hands down.
Hands down, no question.
Yeah, no, I mean, I dabbled a bit. I still have 18-inch tall Voltron, separates out and goes into the 5 different lions. Like, I literally just this weekend bestowed it upon my 5-year-old daughter, who doesn't know that it's old, terrible animation, but it's, it's awesome to her.
Yeah.
But no, Looney Tunes, that was the stuff, man. The Bugs Bunny, Robin Hood. Oh, still, that's the pinnacle of humor.
Have you...
Daffy Duck is Friar Tuck. I mean, yeah.
That's a good one.
It's unbelievable. It's really
Have you shared any Looney Tunes with your daughter?
No, I haven't. They are really hard to find legally online, and I'm just too... I'm not going to go like BitTorrent stuff anymore. I think I'm past that. So if I can't buy it on iTunes,
YouTube does have a whole collection of things.
Yeah, I know. I should probably dig a little harder through YouTube.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You could just show her our show notes, because we're going to... And by we, I mean Dano. Dano will hunt it down.
Thanks, Dano.
And he will put a link up on our show notes.
No pressure. But the Looney Tunes, Bugs Bunny and the Robin Hood, yeah.
Put him on a mission.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean, if I'm calling my shot, if I can do that, I can,
Yeah. No, you can totally call your shots. This is how it works.
Thanks.
All right. Second question. I forgot to say what the name of this round was, but I think we all know what it is at this point.
Yeah.
So we're just moving on. Second question. What song is stuck in your head right now?
Right now, it's a Daft Punk medley, if you want to call it that, done by an a cappella group called Pentatonics. Because my daughter, we have dance parties, and she has a very limited selection of music. So far, my mother-in-law bought her a boombox and 2 CDs for Christmas. Thank you, Debbie. And so we've been listening to nonstop Taylor Swift basically since Christmas. And so I've been trying to kind of broaden her out and get her to appreciate, I'm an old band chorus nerd.
Yeah.
So the a cappella stuff, I still kind of like it.
So we use like Pandora and Spotify and all those different ones.
Yep.
If I am in control of it, it's normally either like girl ballads of some sort.
Girl ballads.
Yeah, like the
ballads
poppy,
by girls,
yeah,
about
like,
girls.
Like the poppy, but like the all, I don't even know how to describe it. It's like the moody girls.
Okay.
Okay, that's like
angsty sort of.
Yeah, angsty, okay. Like, so it's that. If the kids get it, it's or Johnny Cash. Those are my two. Right
okay.
There.
Yeah.
If the girls get it, then it's princesses.
Disney Princess Radio.
Yeah.
Yep, I have it on Pandora myself.
Yeah. But if my husband gets it, it's Pentatonics.
Oh, really?
Yeah. We listen to so much Pentatonics because he will like try to take over. So I normally have like my phone playing the music just in the kitchen, listening as I'm cooking. He'll come down with his device and hook it up to like the sound system of the house and take over.
And just, out decibel you.
Yeah, exactly.
That's
I'm
nice.
like, all right, pause.
I like the cut of his jib.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He informed me that our basement was going to have Bluetooth, some kind of speaker system.
Oh, yeah.
And so I know that I'm just going to
Is
get...
it Sonos?
I don't know.
Yeah, ask it. Yeah, Sonos is pretty dope.
Yeah,
but,
I don't know.
With an Apple TV, too, you can do the same thing. It's...
Yeah.
We'll talk offline.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, have him call me. I'll set him in the right direction.
It's sitting up in his office next to the TV.
In a box that he's not allowed to touch. Okay,
right.
Great.
He did it to himself.
Yes, he did.
He also got himself a new PlayStation-y thing.
Play box?
A play box.
Yes.
Like, my hands are going like there's a controller, because that's... I don't know what it is. I have no idea. It's like you press buttons and there's a game. But he's told me many times which one it is, and I have to call him up when I'm at the red box and say, which device do we have?
Your husband sounds like a pretty good guy.
Yeah. I like him.
Someday I'll have time for video games again.
Yeah. On your big TV in front of your couch.
Yeah, someday.
Someday.
Yeah. I heard a quote recently, busy people, I think he said successful people, but I don't want to lump myself in there yet. Busy people have very nice couches that they never get a chance to sit on.
Yeah.
So that's kind of where we're going.
Yeah. We have New Year's resolution-y type things.
Mm-hmm.
And he's been working on the basement for so long now. Because you can't cut, saw, do any of those stuff when kids are sleeping.
Oh, yeah.
And he's working during the day.
Yeah.
And so it's like, he's got
time
5
for
minutes.
6 cuts a night. Make them count.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe.
No, you can hammer 3 times.
Exactly. And
Yeah.
So his is like to be able to enjoy the basement. That's his resolution is to be able to actually sit down in his basement and not work on it anymore.
Yeah. Well, I wish him luck. Sounds like a noble quest.
Mm-hmm. Okay, last question.
Bring it on.
Best thing you had to eat this week?
Oh, it's tough. Yeah, this is going to sound schmaltzy, but my wife is a really, really good cook. And so, I get to go to, accounts that we sell beer to, and, Hella Good Tacos has some of the most amazing, food, and it's right around the corner. But yeah, my wife makes a really, really good, the red meat is a thing, and we're trying to kind of limit that because, health reasons. And I'm, hey, there's enough beer in my life that I can give up hamburger. But turkey burgers, she makes amazing turkey burgers. They don't taste like hamburgers because they're not supposed to. And they're just really, really good. So, yeah, my wife's turkey burgers.
All right, and you've listened to the show, so you know I was lying. That wasn't really the last question.
I do.
What was the beer that you paired with it?
The beer that I paired with that was, let me think. I think I had one Dragon Saddle from Hoof Hearted left over. That's their 11.5% ABV triple IPA.
And then you fell asleep and went to bed.
Yeah, well, I didn't drink all 12 ounces.
Okay.
I just, hey, that's great, and I'm drinking a beer, and I'll let it sit for a little bit. No, I think I had the whole thing, but I
Who
definitely...
are you kidding?
Yeah, no, I definitely had the whole thing, but I think it was like a football night or something, so, at least I didn't have to do, fine motor skill stuff afterwards.
Yeah, that wouldn't be fun.
Yeah.
All right, well, that's it.
Thanks. It's been fun.
Yeah. I think, you've got a 5-year-old. I've got a nearly 5-year-old. Your wife is a good cook. My husband likes to play video games. We should get together and have your wife cook.
There you go.
The
I'll
girls
bring the beer.
can play.
Your husband brings the video games. I'll bring the beer.
Yep. Sounds good.
And you'll
I'll drink any.
Yeah, okay.
That's
right on.
That's my job. I'll
There you
drink
go.
and eat. But it has to be after the basement's done, and it has to be after you've fine-tuned this space a little bit.
Yeah, I still got to put the surround sound up. Like it's sitting over there in pieces. And no, it'll be the loudest where... It's funny. We have... this is a fun spot. We've got Wayside Food Rescue next door. And they... to welcome us, he came over and gave us a box of ice cream sandwiches. Hey, welcome. You guys have beer, right? Okay, we're gonna be friends with you. The tire guys over here are awesome. The manager of that place is in a band with Ian McConnell from Banded Horn.
Mm-hmm.
So we've now gotten to meet each other. There are 3 medical marijuana grow houses behind us. If you could drill through that wall, it would be like Cheech and Chong. Oh. I mean, it's like that back there. So if you ever come over to the warehouse and it smells like Chiba, it's not us, but you're not far.
Right. There's cheesecake, too.
There's cheesecake, there's ice cream, there's all kinds of stuff, man. It's a place to be.
Yeah, it's the next spot.
Yeah. One Industrial Way is a cool spot, and we'll never be there, but, this is a pretty cool parking lot.
East Bay side is pretty good.
It is very
You're
good.
like the next spot. Like, there's One Industrial, and then there's, I don't know, what, Walton Street? Is that where we are?
Yeah.
And then there's Walton Street.
Yeah, well, Walton Street.
All right. What?
Yeah.
On that note, we should go.
Right on.
All right.
Thanks.
Cheers. Thank you so much. Folks, have you ever realized that you remember something differently than it actually occurred? Well, Jim had just this realization. I ran into him at Four River Brewing Company the day I was editing his interview, and he informed me that he realized that Robin Hood episode, it didn't have Bugs Bunny, it actually had Daffy Duck and Porky Pig. Things like this always happen to me. If you want to watch the Robin Hood clip, head over to our show notes, greatbeeradventure.com/033, and check it out. Thank you so much to Jim OBrien for sitting down with us and explaining the whole distribution game. We still need you all to fill out our survey by going to greatbeeradventure.com/survey. We have given you over 20 hours of free content. Help us out by giving us 10 minutes of your time. Again, the survey can be found at greatbeeradventure.com/survey. The music throughout today's episode is by Old Etc. out of Biddeford, Maine. To learn more about them, head over to greatbeeradventure.com/music. We have new things headed your way every week and can't wait to share them with you. Special thanks to our behind-the-scenes guru, Dano Pugach. Today's episode was created, produced, and edited by me, Amanda. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next time. Cheers. Want to know more? Be sure to find us on Instagram at Great Beer Women. If you haven't done so already, be sure to head over to greatbeeradventure.com/subscribe to subscribe. That way, you'll be the first to know when a new episode goes live. Also, don't forget to tell your friends about us. A small party is fun, but a huge party is extraordinary. Let's get more people knowing about beer in the great state of Maine. Great Beer Adventure is part of the Great Pint Society.
They're working on some really cool stuff.
Yeah.
For sure.
I really like those guys.
Yeah, they're super chill. Super, they're good people. I mean, that's who we look. There's no shortage of beer out there. And if you do what we do, there's no shortage of people that would be very excited for you to sell their beer.
Yeah.
So we do get to be kind of choosy, who we work with, because,
And I have some questions around that, but we'll wait until we actually get into the episode.